Well, in 2024, we have a lot of regulatory dilemmas that we have to overcome. Regulation is evolving to protect the consumer, and especially in Europe, and we have to keep up with those regulations. And one of them is around consent management, the ability to provide our customers with the right level of information, but making sure that the customer is in control. That consent management piece and regulatory requirements associated with consent management is still a challenge, because these rules are changing all the time. And the flip side to consent management and regulatory requirements is also commercial pressure, which means that we need to give the opportunity for the customer to choose the level of exposure that he or she would like to get from a company. And so not over soliciting the base with the right level of information is a very difficult thing to achieve, and it's a real challenge for the industry. Another piece, a challenge in 24, was making sure that we can provide customers with a more simple approach to loyalty, cutting through the complexity while serving emotional value. Customers are looking for extra purchasing power, and the loyalty program needs to translate the value, the benefits, the perks, the deals into real monetary savings for customers to realize that it's not smoke and mirrors, it's true value that's being delivered. And still, I think the loyalty industry has some way to go with regards to that. And that was definitely the case in 2024. In 2025, some of the challenges that we will be overcoming, hopefully, are going to be around the blurred lines between the digital and the physical experience. Today, we have a digital touch points, our app, our website, our CRM that send you SMS messages, WhatsApp messages, emails, and so on and so forth. That's the digital interaction we have with our members. But yet when they're in the hotel, we have a completely different set of, let's just say, physical touch points. And what we're working on is making sure that we can actually blur these lines to make sure that there is a single customer journey for members. When they enter the hotel, they can use their app and they're reminded that they can check in online. They know which room they have. They know exactly that they can use their digital key to access their room, and so on and so forth, that they can be reminded that there is a free spa appointment that's just freed up. Although the spa was previously occupied, now they have an opportunity to be first in line as a member. That's just another experience. And so blurring the lines between digital and physical is going to be very important, and that's definitely something that we're going to be working on in 2025.
For 2024, and maybe again going into 2025, we've seen a peak of demand in general, I think across airlines and hoteliers as well. So access to redemption or flight redemptions, hotel redemptions is probably something that is important for us to continue to have that balance. And it's very important for the program. These are the aspirational rewards within the programs. We continue to have a lot of our members truly using their miles, earning miles through different schemes, but also ensuring that but most of the miles are used for flight redemptions, for example. And again, with demand peaking and higher yields enjoyed by the airlines, the access to that inventory needs to be somewhat managed properly. So that's something we will continue to work very closely with our revenue optimization colleagues to ensure that our members are enjoying the benefits of being part of the program. The second one, not new, I think, to all the industry players, is the pace of and agility of technology in technology and adapting to rapid changes that we have in the technology arena and integrating with unfortunately legacy systems to be able to provide better ways for us to engage with our customers. And for us to also leverage the best out of the products that we are offering our customers. So I think this, again, technology can be an enabler, but can be also a hurdle as well. And it's a challenge that we continue to face as the programs are getting more and more digitalized. The third one is truly to continue to position loyalty within a corporation as well. Like in general, as I mentioned, the airlines are enjoying higher yields, higher revenue, higher load factors. And it is important for us to understand that, you know, loyalty is a long-term play. It's important for us to keep our members loyal and coming back to us, and that we are also contributing to this surge in demand as well, but by creating the right incentives for members to interact with our mother brands. And again, you know, as I mentioned earlier, I think some of these challenges will continue into 2025.
So loyalty programs sit on a treasure trove of data. So, you know, not specific to loyalty, but this past year, I think there was a significant increase in, you know, data hacks, database hacks, security breaches, and everyone's really had to step up the arsenal of tools to kind of mitigate the risk of security threats. So I think next year that will continue. We are always aware of that, and I think that always having an eye to that, making sure that you're being as responsible as possible with the data that you're collecting and storing on your platform. That is very, very specific. Like loyalty programs are all about data, so that is more and more, I think, susceptible to that risk. And then speaking on data, and the other area would be like, you know, the continual balance of data privacy and personalization. So people say they don't want you to know so much, but also make this as relevant and customized experience as possible. Well, that's based on the data that you have access to. So, you know, we continue, and there's different regulations in different markets. They're generally all getting stricter, and that's fine as long as you go to the highest level of regulation and you cater for that. Then all other markets, when they catch up, you're ready. But I think the biggest thing is trying to figure out where it makes sense in the customer like life cycle and experience to be asking for all of those consents and making sure that you're being as transparent, but like in a nicer way, like to say what you're collecting and what you're doing with it, who you're sending it to, and how you're using it. But I mean, it's the biggest joke of anytime you land on any site, you have about 15 different boxes and check boxes. You're like, I just wanted to look at something. I just want to know your hours. I want to know, and you have like so many different things, and it really disrupts something that's such a simple experience. Do you really need to collect their cookies right then? I don't know. But I think for us, you know, you can stand out by maybe trying to make that less of such a disruption. And I think, you know, there's opportunity to be had there, but that continues of how you're actually personalizing that experience with the more obstacles of collecting the different data points that would help actually inform that experience to do the things you want it to do. The other thing, just more like at a planning level or maybe a strategic level in terms of your value proposition in a loyalty program. I mean, the one thing is when we talked about cross-industry collaborations and customers are really wanting more and more to double dip, triple dip. They want to be doing all this stuff beyond your core product. I mean, it really makes you step back and just say, you know, at some point your loyalty program, if you get too broad outside of your core business, okay, really is your loyalty program doing the desired behavior within your core product? Like that's where we care about our hotels. We care about members staying in our hotels more often. And if they have engagement elsewhere, does it result in them staying in our hotels more? And that's what we're trying to do. But more and more, you see a lot of programs out there making pretty much their entire model is actually doing the opposite. It's all credit cards, it's all spend, earn and burn your stuff outside. And it's like, okay, well, that probably works for them. And then you really just have to have each business looking at it saying, what is the objective of that program? And is its diversification potentially over time helping its main objectives, or is it kind of distracting it? And then at some point, is that really going to be diluting the value of that program to that business? And so I feel like the whole broadening of those partnerships really should be making programs step back and really evaluate if that's the right thing for them, or if are they doing it the right way? Are the economics truly lining up the way they intended them to and need them to be? And sometimes it doesn't make sense. Just maybe you want to do something, but maybe for the business, you shouldn't be doing that. And so that's something that we always are assessing for our own program.
Reflecting on 2024, the industry faced multiple challenges, and I believe, I'm sure everyone is aware of that. not only in QSR industry, but also in the other industries as well. The biggest one, I would say, is the economic shifts, which influenced consumer spending habits, making it difficult for the brands to drive long-term loyalty. Engagement fatigue is another one, which became a concern as consumers were overwhelmed with multiple loyalty programs and offers from various brands. Scaling personalization while integrating various platforms or channels remained a hurdle for most of the brands. And I would say data privacy, especially the new stricter data regulations requiring huge care of consumer customer data, will become more important due to the higher fraud risks as digital adoption grows. Looking ahead to 2025, balancing AI automations with a human touch, and what I mean by human touch is that basically carefully measuring, tracking the data and reading the data and insights and instilling them to the decision making will be very critical and super important for the brands to differentiate themselves in customer engagement and the industries that they are in.
So the biggest challenge that we see our clients have is, and will continue to have into the next year, is really around those loyalty, business, and technology transformations. It's designing them to encompass and address all of the impacts and implications across the marketplace and across their businesses, of which there are many. And it's also bringing together all the various skill sets that a client needs to build and operate a modern loyalty platform, from new tech talent that understands modern composable architecture with all the engineering talent needed to deliver a new platform at scale, new UX and experience design, and let's not forget all the accounting and finance talent to connect program outcomes to the back office. It's really bringing that talent base together in an integrated way that allows you to meet your transformation aims on time and to value.
Yes, coming to 2024 and 2025 challenges. In 2024, we did the new program. That's why during this period, you should keep the balancing value of the perception of customer and at the same time to keep the profitability. And also the customer, the customer behavior, because we changed the number of tier and the benefit of tier is changing. So you need to keep it very, clear. And also migration of customers' data, where you should be very clear, correct, and secure, because it's personal information and the structure of that also is not the same. Comparison of the models. But for this year, coming period, technology evolution, we should keep our technology side strong because the time to market is very important for us. Liability management, because we prolonged the miles expiration date for our customers during migration, and the partnership and enlarging the partnership is our most, challenge in 2025.
Yeah, from a challenge perspective, and how do we deal with it? I believe that the challenges that we faced in 2024 will continue to be some of the challenges that we'll need to address in 2025, probably at an even bigger scale, driven by some of the macro trends that I mentioned, because as programs get bigger, the scale of some of these challenges is going to get bigger. So the first one is going to be around fraud, security and fraud. We've seen fraud in the loyalty industry to be one of the big
pain points in the industry, and that's impacting loyalty programs across industries. It's not specific to one industry, but we've seen it happen quite a bit in the airline industry. And I think one of the recent reports I read, loyalty fraud is one of the fastest growing types of fraud overall across the financial services industry, even though the loyalty currency as a currency makes up a much smaller portion of the global currency that's out there in the market. So we see that the loyalty world attracts criminals, it brings them in, and they're looking at how to be creative to their benefit. So we expect a lot of the programs to focus quite a bit on how to control fraud, how to limit it, and how to protect their customers. The second one is going to be around data privacy. So I think over the last 5-10 years, industries have gone and focused quite a bit on personalization, and in order to personalize, you need to have customer data. We're going to move into a world where both from a consumer perspective, but as well as from government's perspective, it's going to become more and more important to ensure the data privacy of your users, of your consumers, but also to get their consent. And we believe these two aspects will be a key challenge to focus on in 2025, because you want to ensure to provide the right experience for the customer, but you want to be sure that you do it while you respect their privacy and you get their consent to be able to do it. And we expect a big push to come from the consumers itself. And the last big challenge that we see happening is going to be around program changes. Program changes, and I'll speak from an airline industry perspective, but maybe for other industries, have always been tricky, right? Your consumers, your users, your members get used to having a certain program and interacting with that program in a certain way. And when you change your program, there's often some backlash against that. With the macro trends that I was mentioning, with the rising cost of travel, with less space in the premium cabins, airlines are going to have to adapt their programs to be able to serve their most valued members better. But they need to ensure that they do it in a way that doesn't affect their customer satisfaction negatively, and that they communicate about their program changes in a way that's well accepted by their members. So those are the three big challenges we see coming our way next year.
Hotel staff recruiting has been a very important challenge during 2024, and still is, honestly, in some countries. This is having implication, of course, on loyalty on two aspects. First of all, the needs to enhance, improve, and focus even more on trainings of the staff. We have a higher turnover. At the end, we want to make sure that there is a full delivery of the benefits, and we are absolutely keeping as priority the recognition of our members. But this is passing through our staff, and that's why, for example, in Radisson Hotel Group, we are totally focused on improving and increasing the number of trainings tailor-made and developed for the new young generation that are entering in our hotels.
The 2024 was a challenging year for a lot of loyalty programs. I think some of them had an identity crisis. What are we? What do we mean to our customers? What do we mean to our members? Why are members joining our program? Do we continue doing what we're doing, or are we going to kind of pivot and look into different spaces? I think it was a real hard, internal look. I think the way forward is really putting to bed some of those kind of ghosts, if you like, in a way that makes sense and draws a path to the future. I think loyalty programs need to stop being everything for everybody. It's okay to be focused and be quite niche in your proposition. And some of this data and research and interactions we have with our customers through market research do make you feel a little bit scared. But it does give you a really clear path to go forward if you do that right. And I've seen some great examples where this has been done. I mean, I can't talk to them in on camera, but people have got that research now in a state that it becomes actionable, and that could be really quite exciting for next year.